Hi everyone and welcome back to Krista's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making one of our every plate meals, the garlic barbecue pork chops with mashed sweet potatoes and roasted yellow squash. So we're going to dive straight into it. My stepdad and his nephew are on their way, so I figured I would make them some lunch so they could have that while they're cutting through on their way home. It's quite a long drive, so figured fuel them up and send them out. But it says it should take about 5 minutes prep time and ready in 30 minutes. I've chopped up the sweet potato and just covered it with some warm water and some salt. I'm going to pop this in the microwave and cook it for about 10 minutes. I'll have to check on it. I'm not used to cooking sweet potatoes in this. I usually do broccoli and just russet potatoes and things. But this way I can save some of the heat coming into the camper by putting it in the microwave instead of boiling it on the stove. So we're going to go ahead and get that rolling. And then next we're going to oil our pan and do our roasted squash. This is going to have to wait while we're using the microwave because, again, I don't want to heat up the camper with using the oven, so I'm going to use the convection part of this. Ooh. I'm going to turn my exhaust to low just so it goes ahead and starts moving some of that out. And I also sliced up the squash that came with it. And some of the pieces are like little half moons, and then some are cut a little bit smaller. It's just as the squash got wider, I made the pieces, tried to make the pieces about the same size. Wipe my hand off. Let's do a little bit of pepper. A little salt. And I'm going to sprinkle the barbecue seasoning. I'm going to try and be careful with this and do just half of it like it says, because the other half is going to go on our pork chops, which that's what I have right here. I'm just using a paper towel to soak up some of those juices so they'll be nice and dry and the seasoning will stick and also get a pretty good sear. We're going to move this out of the way while that cooks and get going on our pork chops. So for our pork chops, I'm going to go ahead and turn the stove on, let that heat up. About time to refill my olive oil. Put just a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of the pan and let it heat. There we go. And really you can use your preference of cooking oil for it. So we're going to unwrap these. Give them a little pepper and salt. And then use the other half of this barbecue seasoning. And pat that into it. We're just going to wait for our pan to heat up. We'll toss these in there. Once they go in, I'll season the other side and get to cooking. So our sweet potatoes are very tender and soft. They took about 14 minutes to cook all of the way. They probably could have gone a little bit less. But I'm going to go ahead and move our pork to the cutting board and let it rest. And we're going to let our pan cool down just a little bit so I can wipe it out. We want to keep the good bits in it, but I'm going to take some of these burnt and fatty bits out. I'm going to let that sit for just a minute while we do our mashed potatoes. We're going to use the bits in the bottom of the pan to make the sauce then. So we're going to add in, it calls for 2 tablespoons of butter. There we go. And we're going to mash this up. Oh, it also, almost forgot, this is a little bit strange for me with sweet potatoes, but it calls for a pack of sour cream. I'm going to mash this all up, and we're going to let it sit while we get our glaze or our sauce made for our pork. So let's turn this back on. We're going to turn it to low though, and Add just a little bit of olive oil again. There you go. It says we're going to toss in our garlic that we chopped up. So it called for 1 clove of garlic. I'm not sure what 1 clove is going to do for us. So I did use my 3 tiny cloves and mixed it up. But we're going to cook that for just a second. And then it says after about 30 seconds, we stir in our barbecue sauce and 1/4 cup of water. So I'm going to let that cook for just a second while this over here. So all I have near me is a bowl. So we're going to add in about 1/4 cup of water and making sure that's on low. Still pretty warm. So we're going to squeeze in our barbecue sauce packets. Ooh, I can smell it picking up the bits off the bottom of the pan. Yay! Those bits have an official name. I can't remember what it's called, but it's funny that everything in life has some kind of name. Like some title to what it's called. Let's move this around and mix it all up and see how long it says to cook for. Until slightly thickened at about 1 to 2 minutes. So we want to be trying to get these little bits and pieces up off the bottom of the pan while we're stirring and getting it all together. So 1 to 2 minutes for this. And then once it's thickened, it says turn off the heat and add a tablespoon of butter to it and just let it sit and melt together. But this is the glaze that will go across the top of our pork chops. Okay, we're going to turn off our heat, add in our tablespoon of butter, let that do its magic. And all we have left is our zucchini, not zucchini, our yellow squash. It's in the zucchini and squash all in the same family, but for it to cook up. Just going to let the juices kind of run down into here. And I'm going to sit these down in their sauce. Now we want to let these rest and not slice them up anytime soon so those juices can stay inside the pork. You want to do that for any of your meat. Let them rest before you slice into it. Okay, y'all, so it's all done. This is expectation with the garlic barbecue pork chops, the squash, and the mashed sweet potatoes. We'll add a little bit of pepper effect for matching the picture. But this is the reality. I did taste a little edge of the pork chop, and it's really good. I like the flavor. It definitely does not scream barbecue to me. It's more Asian flavor pork chops to me. So when I present this to my stepdad and his nephew, that's what it will be. You will see they're in the containers because they're coming off of their lunch break and everything for work. So once they get here, I'm going to nuke them in the microwave and get it rolling for them. I'll probably put another little veg in here for them also because they're hardworking big men. So pack them something yummy, but it's all very good. Like I said, it doesn't scream barbecue to me at all. It's more Asian flavors, and that's how I'll present it to them. Thank y'all for joining us. We'll see y'all a little bit later. Don't forget, if you want to see our videos routinely, hit that subscribe button, get notifications, stay in the loop, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. We'll see y'all later. Bye!